Do you want to become a copywriter but don't know really where to start? You might be asking yourself, are there programs for this? Why can't I find any from accredited universities? Do you need a mentor? Or also, how do you get your first clients? These are really common questions, and we're going to tell you exactly the answers to these today. How do you become a copywriter with no previous experience? Stay tuned, you're going to learn it all right here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Emma Gibbons. I am a brand messaging strategist, copywriter, and copywriting coach for entrepreneurs and emerging copywriters. This happens from time to time where, for example, one of my current junior copywriters, Sarah, she came through writing coaching with me. So writing coaching is typically for entrepreneurs, but I also have taken on a couple of copywriters and emerging content writers who want to learn the basics. And we'll talk a little bit about that more, like how you get involved with a mentor or writing coach. But we're going to go through a whole bunch of different ways that you can get started. So I would say I have it in my recommended order here, but you can certainly skip things around. Some things will suit you better than others. So take this and use it so that it helps you the most. But consider the order in which I am presenting these tips to you, because I really do think it will help. It's very similar to what Sarah did, and as you can tell, she's very successful. I'm one of her copywriting clients. So I am excited to dive in, and if you like this video, don't hesitate to give it a like and also hit the subscribe button so that you never miss a video about copywriting. So first, we're going to start with something that is meant to A, boost your confidence, and B, provide you with a real basic foundation to your writing portfolio. And that is to gather any samples of writing you have done. So what I mean by this is, have you ever written your own blog? Have you ever guest posted on a friend's blog? Did you ever write an article for the school newspaper? It doesn't really matter, but it's all about really assembling the pieces that you have written before to boost your confidence, to look at the skills that you do already have. And also some of them may actually be relevant to you being a copywriter or a content writer. So to really briefly summarize that, copywriting is designed to sell, and content writing is designed to educate, inform, to warm up an audience, to build loyalty and trust. So content writing is more things like the blog posts and possibly like magazine articles, school newspaper, that sort of thing. So those could potentially form a portfolio for your content writing. But in the terms of copywriting, when we're trying to actively sell, most likely you don't have previous pieces. But if you do, wow, you're already on your way. So definitely look at anything you might have that can boost your confidence and help you build a portfolio just to start with. All right, so now we can get into how do you actually learn the formulas? How do you learn the craft of copywriting? And the best way I could possibly recommend for you to get started, because it's the way I've seen other copywriters start and I myself started, is through having a mentor. So in my case, I actually had a mentor in the marketing department that I initially worked in. I also started to freelance after that and then became a business owner, and I focused on copywriting and writing coaching for others. And how that happened is that I also had a writing coach. So she was the next mentor. She taught me a lot more of the fundamentals of copywriting, in addition to what I'll get into in a bit about how to do your own sort of research and learning and understanding the theory. But what was great about starting with a mentor at the same time, with a writing coach at the same time, was that it's complete 100% practical learning. So you still will get strategy calls, you'll still get, templates to work with, and you'll be taught the different formulas. But you're immediately meant to apply those formulas. Your writing coach wants to see you writing and is going to have suggestions for you that are really, really concrete and really refined and human. On the other hand, if you were to try and find a program, which do exist and they do have their benefits, but if you were to start there, then A, they're almost all asynchronous, meaning that you don't have to show up live. You don't get personalized attention. Sometimes you can submit work and there are elements where you'll get some feedback. But some of the programs that I have seen and even been in, it's very, very generic. Like, you basically pass or not, and you completed the brief. That's great. You completed this. That's great. It's more like a checklist instead of really looking at the craft and the subjective elements, which is really a shame. A writing coach is not that in the least. They are super, super personalized coaches. That's what they are, right? Like they are helping you while you're practicing, just like a hockey coach, right? So I highly recommend working with a writing coach. I do writing coaching myself. If this is something that you really are looking to learn more about and to take seriously, it's super fun. You get a strategy call every month, including like a big intake call. If you're an emerging copywriter, you'll learn through templates and formulas. You also get to learn my copywriting formula, the Armada formula, and you get up to 4,000 words a month reviewed. So really, really recommend checking it out. The next tip is going to go into basically the first thing I do with emerging copywriters when they start with me. But check out just directly more about writing coaching by clicking the link in the description below. So let's go straight into what would we do in that first month together of writing coaching, or what would I recommend that you do on your own should you work with a different writing coach or you're trying to skip around with steps, which is totally up to you. It's in this order for a reason though, just remember that. So what I would recommend doing is to write your own website, right? So having access to a writing coach, having access to templates, understanding formulas, you can write your homepage, your about page, a services page, a sales page, a contact page, a blog, so you can learn the essentials of content writing in case that's something you're curious about too. Really recommend you start with creating something you need anyway, right? It's practical. You can actually use this on your real website. So your writing coach as well, if they're an active copywriter, my writing coach is an active copywriter, I am an active copywriter, we'll be able to help you with how we started. So for example, the initial offers, so if you're going to write a sales page, you know exactly what to include. Will you do a basic website copy audit? How does that work? Your writing coach can tell you on a strategy call. So again, super, super strong recommendation that you actually learn from a human and not just a course when you're starting out. So that you have a whole website that's yours, that's applicable, that you can use, that you have an online presence from, so that you're legit when you get started and you get started way, way faster. Sarah had her first client, I think in the second month of writing coaching together. And it wasn't me, it was definitely somebody else. It was in the art space too, which is what she wanted. So by having that initial online presence and practicing while learning, huge game changer. You can also add into this category writing for social media. Your writing coach can help you with writing social posts. So for example, the Armada formula I recommended, learning with me, because it's my copywriting formula. You do have to work with me to learn it. It's applicable not only to copywriting, but to content writing too. So it really, really helps with writing social post structure. So that's huge because you want to have some sort of presence online, right? We'll get into that in a little bit as well, but think about, you could learn how to write emails by preparing your own welcome sequence if someone just were signing up through your website. So many different ways that you can use the copy you need for yourself anyway as a way to practice writing copy. The next phase is to offer to write for a friend. If you want, you can do that first. Again, recommended the order for a reason, but you can definitely write for a friend. And that is really, really helpful if you are connected to anyone in the online business space. But if you know someone with an Etsy shop who has never actually built their own website and could potentially do really, really well through that and being able to take all the orders themselves, consider offering to write for them. And you don't have to do a whole website, right? That takes a lot of time, but you could say, I'm working on developing better about pages. And most business owners who haven't worked with a copywriter before don't write particularly strong about pages. So that would be a really good one to offer. Say, hey, I've noticed this and this about your about page. I would be happy to improve it for you in exchange for a testimonial and to be allowed to use it in my portfolio. So would you let me write your about page for you again? So really, really recommend, because it helps you to build that portfolio too, right? So it doesn't matter if it's not paid. It's for a real business owner. It's not just spec pieces. It's not just, an assignment from a course that you got. Like everything that you write qualifies as part of your portfolio because it is for the real world. It's going to be up on someone's real website. Really important that you just start working from the beginning. Start practicing from the beginning because you're going to get so far so much faster. Now I'm going to talk really briefly about more of the theory side of copywriting. So at this point, potentially you could do a course, but I think if you're working with a writing coach, it's just not necessary. But there are some courses out there that are really well known in the industry. The first thing that comes to mind is the American Writers and Artists Institute course, so a Y for short, and that's really highly regarded. You do get a certification for doing that course, which is quite uncommon. So, and it's a course I've been a part of as well. I would definitely recommend that you pick up a couple of really great books on copywriting, which we could do a whole other video about one day. But one that I found particularly helpful is Writing Web Copy That Sells. Oh, I just checked the whole title. So it's actually Web Copy That Sells, the revolutionary formula for creating killer copy that grabs their attention and compels them to buy. Sounds good, right? By Maria Veloso. So I would recommend picking up that or getting the Kindle edition so that you do have a little bit more of that theory and you can continue to develop outside of the world of writing coaching, because your writing coach will also have their preferences. And I think it's important that you balance that by also learning some more historical theory. There's a lot of different books you could potentially learn from. You could check out blogs like the Copy Hackers blog. Those are pretty in-depth, especially about the different formulas that you could potentially use for copywriting. So that will help round out your learning in addition to working with that really personalized on-the-ground support of a writing coach. So the next tip is to move on from helping a friend. Now that you have a little bit of a portfolio, more confidence because you've written for a real business owner, and also feedback, moving to market research calls. So market research calls are genuinely to learn more about the people that you think you would want to work with. So was it awesome working with your friend because they were an Etsy seller who's trying to get online? Maybe there's a niche there. Maybe she knows a whole bunch of other Etsy sellers because she's in Facebook groups with them. So head over to that Facebook group and ask politely, I am asking questions of this type of person who I'd love to do copywriting for in exchange for your time. And it depends on the group rules if you're literally taking my word and going to Facebook. But you could offer to, give them a $5 gift card, or you could offer to take a look at their homepage for them in exchange for asking some questions. And it can be really, really powerful to keep track of their responses. But the other potential, because this is not a sales call, but potential benefit is that just by asking them the right questions and caring about what they are feeling, caring about their pain points, caring about what's holding them back from making more money in their business, just by having that relationship built with this person through this conversation. In my experience with market research, every time I've done it, I've had them start to ask me questions about my offer and my services. And I got, honestly, my first 2 writing coaching clients ever came directly through market research. So that absolutely happens with writing clients as well. By asking them the right questions, if you already have your website prepared, if you already came up with your initial kind of test offers through the support and strategy of your writing coach, then you know exactly how you can tell them, yeah, I'm happy to look at your whole website for you. This is something that I do for, $250 because you're at the beginning of your journey. Is that something you'd be interested in? Once they've actually asked you about ways that you can provide them support, that is a whole other kind of side benefit of market research. So not only are you learning more about your ideal customers, how to target them, what are the exact words that they use, all things you're going to use in your really high level copywriting, but potentially it could open up real relationships that turn into client relationships. So really, I think underutilized tool when it comes to becoming a copywriter. I think this is a lot more well known in certain segments of the online business world, especially like life coaches. But for copywriters, it's critically important because we're the ones who know how key it is to know how our ideal clients really speak. And a lot of copywriters don't do it. So do it. Do market research calls. All right, next is you could potentially practice and also build a portfolio piece by rewriting an existing website. So let's say there's a company that you really like, but they don't have a particularly strong services page or sales page, and you're still developing your craft. So you sit down and you analyze why it is that it's not strong. Maybe they have features hidden alone and there's not a lot of emotion tied to it, like the benefits. Maybe they have way too much of an intro and you've lost interest already, and that's a shame because you really like their products. So consider what it is that's kind of flawed about it and then rewrite it. And then you can add that into your portfolio. So the key there is that you want to reference the original source and mention that this was basically a spec piece that you are rewriting to improve this, this, and that. So you can actually have like a little note at the top of the document that this is in your portfolio. And a key to doing this with brands that you actually really like is I would say this is a separate step and recommendation, is to then contact them. right? So you basically pitch them, say that you identified that there were a couple of areas that could be improved. And so you've gone ahead and written a sample piece for them showing how you would make that change. And sometimes that's quite a cold pitch, but something to really consider, and maybe before you practice rewriting websites, is to look at who is hiring for copywriters. So not necessarily that they're hiring a freelancer, but look at things like LinkedIn job posts where they're looking for a copywriter in-house, and you can pitch them and have the angle of, well, you could potentially pitch them to work for them if you wanted to, but you could also have the angle of, have you considered hiring a freelancer? Or I would prefer to use a word like partner, because sometimes people don't take freelancers seriously just because of the word. So have you considered hiring a copywriting partner, outsourcing to a copywriting partner? I've gone ahead and I have created this sample by rewriting your sales page. There are a couple of things that could be improved on it. It's this, this, and this. So please take a look. Something along those lines. This is me kind of creating a pitch on the spot, but really consider that as an opportunity to get work. The worst that they can say is, we're not looking to hire a freelancer right now, or we've already, found an in-house copywriter, or they may not respond, but you still have that portfolio piece that we were just talking about. As long as you cite the source and include a little blurb at the top that says what you've done, that you've rewritten it because of these reasons, then you could potentially share it in a larger portfolio piece when pitching to another company, or when working with an entrepreneur who wants to know what your voice sounds like. Oh, this is one I just thought of. I hadn't even put this in my notes, but something I also really recommend to for example, the copywriters who've come through writing coaching with me, is that when their website is up and when they have a basic portfolio and maybe even already one client, I would recommend sending out an email to all of your contacts. So anyone who has a close relationship with you, I think absolutely is one layer. And then everyone who's kind of in that sphere. So maybe you have a portion of LinkedIn contacts who work in marketing departments, or who are online business owners, something like that. And you can actually send basically an announcement email and ask if they know anyone who's looking for this to please hit forward, or to share your information with them. If this is you yourself, then I would love to support you, and to learn more, you can click this button to hop on a call. I actually have a template for this that I give my copywriting clients, or copywriters who are coaching clients, but I would definitely recommend that you do something of the same sort. Definitely send out an announcement to just let people know that this is something you're doing, because they may need it. They may know someone who needs it. They may have a friend of a friend who needs it. You never know. But those personal relationships can be huge game changers. That's why everybody loves referrals. Referrals are going to be the best potential clients for the most part, because they have a vested interest in making sure that you have a good relationship, since you have a common, like a mutual acquaintance or a previous relationship. And they usually are the ones who are going to pay better as well. I find, in my experience, if it was like, I don't know, a family member or a close friend, potentially they could try and weasel their way into kind of getting some work for free or for a discount. But even so, they shouldn't be doing that. Mutual, like friends of friends, don't even do that. They literally are just the people who are more likely to pay you better and who have a vested interest in making sure their relationship is positive. So definitely recommend that you do the simple act of announcing to the world that this is something you're doing and how to learn more. Okay, and finally, if you haven't already started to practice writing social media posts, carve out a little niche on Instagram for yourself, this is the moment I would really strongly consider creating an online presence on a social media platform. I still believe in the power of having your own website. After all, you're going to be a copywriter, so you need to have a website to show that you understand the value of your clients' websites. It's critically important, and it's just easier to have everything housed there, right? That you have all control over. You can explain what your services are. It's yours, it's branded, it's perfect. And I think at least being present in one social platform is important to creating relationships with potential collaborators, staying in touch with clients. I often stay in touch with clients through Instagram in particular. And at this moment in time, as I'm making this video, I would strongly recommend that you look at LinkedIn, because there is obviously a lot of corporate on LinkedIn. So if you want to be a B2B copywriter, like a business-to-business copywriter, or you want to pitch and see if they are looking for possibly a partner instead of just an in-house copywriter, so many good reasons to be on LinkedIn from that perspective. But also, it's starting to become increasingly popular with online business owners. And if that is who you like to do writing for, this is a great time to establish yourself on LinkedIn. And also, despite the fact that it's now becoming more than just corporate, it's still work-minded. So people are on LinkedIn in a professional capacity of some sort, whereas Instagram can be very much for fun and you may have to wade through a lot. There's a lot more benefits to LinkedIn as well, but I would just really consider, if you're just going to pick one place, possibly look at LinkedIn. I think it could be a really good decision for a new copywriter, as I'm making this in 2021 at the very least. All right, were those enough tips for you? Because we really went from a copywriter who has zero experience, to someone who may not even call themselves a copywriter yet, to someone who is confident, has a portfolio, has referrals and connections, hopefully has some clients going, who has an online presence. Like, that is a huge journey, and it's just the start. So I strongly recommend that you consider the order that I've given you these tips in, and to really, really reach out to a writing coach. Again, I can't emphasize that enough. Whoever it is, it doesn't have to be me. As long as you connect with someone who is a really great writer, so you like the style that they write in themselves, you like their website, you kind of feel like you have a match personality-wise, if you like the level of support that they give you, if there is some strategy involved, as well as just like coming into your documents and providing revisions with you, it will make all the difference in the world. You will learn so much faster, and you'll hopefully be able to tap into that relationship to build your own connections in the world of copywriting and whatever niche they're in potentially too. If they're specialized in B2B, or if they really serve online business owners, you could potentially really understand a lot more strategically about the people that you want to help and where they are and how you find them through your writing coach as well. So I would strongly recommend, if all the other tips you ignore, that you do consider reaching out to a potential writing coach. It will make all the difference in the world. All right, thank you for joining me today. I am so excited for you to begin your journey as a copywriter. If you have any questions, and I would again encourage you to check out the link in the description below about writing coaching with me, if I am resonating with you right now. But if you have any questions, also please feel free to drop them in the comments below. And did you like this video? If you did, then please hit the like button and subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so that you never miss a video about copywriting, content marketing, and entrepreneurship. And I will see you again next Thursday. All right, take care. Bye.